Welcome, this is M-Dog from M-Dog Gaming, and if you are asking yourself the question, should I buy Rimworld, then I'm hopeful that this video could be helpful for you. If you want to get more information on this and so many other great games, please feel free to visit me at M-Dog Gaming on Twitch, where we're often streaming live, and come join in on the fun. You can also subscribe and check out all the new videos that we release here on YouTube. And as we're streaming now, I want to say hello to Crusader. Welcome to the channel, as always, Crusader. And we're going to take a look here at Rimworld. If you're not familiar with Rimworld, this is in Alpha. I believe it's Alpha 18. I got this game off of Steam. It's available there in early access. Ludian Studios, and the developer of the game goes by Ty, has a really good reputation of being engaged in the community and working oh so hard on his little baby Rimworld. So we're going to take a look at this. For me, when I'm thinking about, is this a game that I want, often getting an idea of what is the game like, especially in the first few minutes, can be helpful in making that decision. So we're going to go through that process. I'm not sure exactly how long we'll go, and I'll try to talk through some things as we do begin, even about things that will happen as you move forward past the content we show you in this video. But I should mention as well that I really haven't seen a lot of the content. This is one of those games that you can put lots and lots of time in and feel like you're still learning and experiencing new things, as well as the fact that it is still in alpha and constantly getting updates and changes. So this opening screen, actually, if you go back one, it does have a really good little tutorial that shows you the very basics, and I'm talking very basics. It does not take long to get through the tutorial, thankfully, because I think a lot of the charm in this game is just jumping in and getting started. It's got a lot of different options. This is not the video where we're going to get into too much technical stuff, though. We're just going to go new game. You have some choices here. We're going to go with the standard game. I'm not going to talk a lot about the other options, but in this one, you're basically a part of a three-man crew, or you're controlling a three-man crew that crash lands on a planet, and you are trying to build a colony and survive. And it's the kind of game where you often will not survive. So it's one of those really fun experiences, but part of the fun is accepting the fact that based on what events happen, you may or may not make it. And there's some rich story as you create your own story, but there's just some rich story moments that can come out of those things. So we're going to go standard. Now, you're picking a storyteller, and I really like this. And it's basically how random and intense do you want the events that will happen to your colony to be. So starting out, you're probably going to choose Cassandra Classic, as we are. And I think for your first game, based on how much experience you have with this type of game, you're probably going to want to go base builder or some challenge. And we'll do some challenge this time, just because I'm not sure if I'm really ready for some challenge, but because this will be a short video anyway, if everything just blows up, then hey, that's okay. If you're not familiar at all with Rimworld, you'll kind of see what kind of game it is as we get going, but it has been described as Dwarf Fortress Light. One of the complaints of Dwarf Fortress, which I don't have any experience with, to be fair, but one of the complaints is the just difficult user interface, and this game has a really good, in my opinion, really good user interface, and even though it's got a lot of complexity to it, it's not hard to learn. So I kind of like where this game sort of sits in that space. So we're going to go ahead and hit next. There again, there's lots of things you can change. We're just going to generate sort of normal options here. And a little tip here is this world should generate any minute. You'll see all of these different symbols showing you different kinds of bases, and these are going to be other colonists and tribes, I guess, that you can interact with. When I first was trying to start this game, very first time I played, I thought you actually had to click on one of these to start. That is not the case. You can click on them to get information about them, but in the tutorial it'll ask you to choose a random spot to land. You actually just click on any area, these little spots, wherever you click, that's going to be a place where you can start. So you can rotate the planet. The option we chose was just to give us a slice of the planet, which saves a little time on generating the content. You can get the whole planet and look at the whole planet, and of course each time it'll be a random situation. The colorings is going to be different temperature place. I mean, not temperature, but different climates. So the dark green in this case is the boreal forest, temperate forest. You've got tundra, you got desert. You can even go for the real challenge, sea ice or ice sheet start. So there are lots of options, and that will greatly impact kind of what you have around you and the resources that are available. Again, there's some advanced options. We're going to skip that. We're just going to hit next. Now, here's when you have an early sort of decision to make on how random do you want to play. So it's going to give you your choice of your 3 initial characters, and you can just take what you get, or you can hit randomize and start selecting, trying to get better characters or different characters. When you're first starting out, as someone shared with me, it's really helpful to have at least one person who's pretty good at shooting. So like this character actually has shooting as a level 6, and they're often also passionate about crafting, which is symbolized by the 2 flames here. So that means they're going to get 150 experience and get joy when they're crafting. So having passions can be really helpful. They're social. So this character is actually a pretty decent character, and he's okay at shooting, and if we sort of help him along, that would be good. One downside of this character is his age. He's 64. He could, die pretty quick. So something to consider. The other 2 characters don't have as many skills. Passion about social is not going to be super helpful. Now this is a melee fighter, but besides the shooting, what you're looking for, I think in the beginning especially, is having someone that's got a pretty decent growing skill, and also someone that's good at medicine. This person is below average at medicine, but they're interested. So a decent candidate for that. And then growing is 7. So it's not the worst starting 3, and we're just going to take them because we're not going to take the time on this video to actually randomize and select different people, but just want to kind of give you that heads up. And now we will begin the game, and we'll kind of talk about, as it describes us waking up and landing on this unknown world as pieces of the shredded starship fall all around us. So we'll kind of see this happen here. We come out of our pods, and we even have a little puppy with us named Otto, a Yorkshire Terrier. So the first thing you want to do when you load into a game is you can click on these items, the ones that have X's on them. These are going to be critical items. As you see, we've got a couple of weapons and some medicine, some starting meals, which are obviously really important. And if you double click on something, it will select all of them. So you want to go ahead and hit this button. This is going to basically tell your people that you do want them to pick these things up. We have some, what was that? Slag steel. Did we get everything? Some steel. The steel can be pretty important. Silver. And these are our components. You only start off with 30 components. So components allow you to buy, create some more advanced things. You'll definitely want to get those. So in terms of the starting stuff, I think that's pretty good. There's some wood down here. Okay, so then the next step is kind of looking over, as we have the game paused, looking around and seeing what your starting area looks like. So we have this here, which is mineable limestone. We've got water over here. So you're just trying to get an idea on your surroundings. Now this is interesting. Is this jade? Yeah, we've got jade up here. Not a lot of buildings. I guess we have some. Here's some more jade over here. So this could be a starting area that we might consider. We have a building that we could just take over. It's a steel building. We could take it over, or we could deconstruct it to get more steel. We also have, wow, compacted steel nearby, more jade. Boom rats. Anybody that's played this game have probably had a fun story or two that involves the boom rats. I won't spoil that for you, but alright, so yeah, we'll use this area here, And one thing you can do is claim a pre-existing building and just kind of shift click all the walls. And the only reason why you want to claim it is because if you don't claim it as your own, then your colonist won't know to repair it. They won't realize that it's actually their property that they should be worried about. So we've now claimed it, and all we need to do here is, and we're going to build this, sort of finish this structure off. What is this made of? Steel wall. Alright, so let's talk about the building, the buttons down here. The main things you're going to be using early on is architect, work, and then according to how, I mean, early on you won't do a whole lot, but you can do some stuff with restrict and assign. You don't necessarily need to worry about that initially, though. Okay, so we'll do a steel wall just to finish off the building with steel. Now, the other thing before we unpause it is we want to give orders, nope, we want to do zone area, sorry, and create a stockpile area. All those things that we told our guys to pick up, they need to know where to take them. So where was our starting location? Right here. So it's really not that far away, but we need to have a place to take them. So we'll just make our stockpile area right here for now. Something will probably change, but that should be big enough to get the stuff started. So now we'll unpause it, and we need beds. Our hunter lacks ranged weapon, and so this is a good opportunity. I think Greg may have been the one, let's look at his character, who has pretty good shooting. So let's let Greg go ahead and equip the survival rifle. And this person is incapable of violence, so they can't pick up any kind of weapon, including the gun. So we know that this character will probably be the one for now to equip the pistol. And then we didn't mark that, so we do need to make sure they know to take that. And so now if you watch them, they'll equip what I asked them to, and then they all should, and basically what they're doing right now is hauling. So anyone that can haul will. Actually, Greg is incapable. I think he incapable of hard or dumb labor is what it's called. So he is not willing to haul anything. So let's go ahead and look at what he does do. Artistic, crafting, construction. So he could start working. Oh, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to start working on the construction. So since he's going to be doing that immediately, let's go ahead and give him orders to put in a steel door. And we'll put the steel door right here for now. And you noticed that it already gave me a message about beds. So, oh, is this? Maybe this isn't. Oh, it's saying it's undiscovered. So we'll watch Greg go ahead and you see this is the stockpile zone. So they are bringing stuff over here. They'll fill this stuff up with all the materials we asked them to put in there. Okay, so now it's discovered. Now we can put things in there. And let's go back to beds. Everyone needs a place to sleep. You can rotate things around with Q and E. And so we'll just do all the beds up there. And then Otto needs a place to sleep as well. So now Greg has something to do while the others are finishing the hauling. I'm not sure what just happened to him. Oh, he's building. He might have had a failure or something there. Alright. So everything's looking good. Another early decision you need to make is how quickly you want to put up. So there's a couple of things that I would say you often want to do early. You want to go to production and think about putting a research bench up and immediately start researching. And here is your list of things you can research. We're not going to get deep into this, but the green things are already unlocked. And then the ones that are just sort of blank, but that you can see the words that aren't grayed out, those are things you can research. So a lot of times people will do smithing first, and then that opens up some weapons, and then machining, which opens up the ability to craft some guns, which can be helpful in sort of defending against those early raids. And Crusader's asking if I still have him in game. So yesterday we were streaming this game, and we actually put a lot of the folks who came by and chat, we put them as characters in the game. And so yes, Crusader, I still have that game that we were playing yesterday, and we may continue that in a little while. And Apocalypse says, hey, greetings to you. We're just finishing up on an intro video here for YouTube, and then we'll settle into for the rest of the stream tonight. And this is a chip chunk, and we can deconstruct that and get some stuff out of that. All right, so anyway, as we were saying, you do want to make that research table pretty early on. But another thing that you want to do early on, and I'm not sure if Greg will help us with this or not, but the other two will if he doesn't. Once everyone's finished, we probably want to go ahead and set up a growing area, because one of the early issues you're going to have, and it's not as critical because we're in such a lush, temperate place, but you want to have plants that you're already working on growing. So we will do that. And you can look to see if you have any, like right here, this soil is really, oh, I didn't mean to do that. This soil is really, can I delete it? There we go. Fertile. You can see it's rich soil is what it's called. So it's not that close to where we're starting though. So here's some rich soil. We could just kind of do it over this, and here's some more. We could also do it over there. So what we want to do is go to zone area, and you put this as a growing zone. So we'll just do like, it's pretty big. I keep still getting used to the way the commands work in this. What is PHI client? Apocalypse. Alright, so our growing zone, we'll make one right here. And it's big, but we're going to do rice here. So one of the popular early plants to do is rice. And this is because it grows pretty fast, and it's easy to turn that into simple meals. And so hopefully our guys will go over there and start doing that pretty quick. So Greg is working on deconstructing this ship piece. And Mech is up here doing what I asked, and it looks like Zlata is finishing the taking the last thing over to our zone here. So we'll watch them as they put the plants in. So they're going to go ahead, and this whole area that we designated for rice, they will be planting all the rice. Other things people often do, and we may not do it since we're going to be cutting this video off before too long, is making a growing zone for a longer life plant, like maybe corn, that just you get a lot of food out of. It takes a lot longer to grow. You could also think of doing cotton in case you want to be able to use the cotton for a variety of things. Or you could make a tree farm if you're going to be using a lot of wood. That's a good way to make sure you are able to do that. You see there are a good many trees surrounding us right now, so we would have a good access to trees. And just to show you, when you click on a tree, you have the option of hitting Y or clicking this button to mark it for chopping. And we will need a good bit of wood early on. So, and it also clears out this space right around where we're building our base. And so you do that, and you get the wood pretty quick. So this is kind of how the game goes early on. Just different projects you get your guys working on. You've got a little bit of time typically to try to get things set up, started. Next we would be building for production. We would probably go ahead and get a butcher's table and a fueled stove that uses the fire from the wood to cook food. And between butchering animals, hunting animals, butchering animals, and then cooking them on the fueled stove, that's a pretty good way to get some early food, especially while we're waiting for all this rice to grow. And then pretty early on, you'll start having visitors. So some of them will be traders who actually are wanting to come and trade goods that they have, sell you things or trade things, buy things from you. Other times, though, you'll get raided from early on. You might just get raided by one person, multiple people, and you have to start thinking of defenses, and which again, when we talked about research before, that's a lot of why a lot of people will go towards machining early on, is so that they can have that early defense. And there are other ways to work on security and defense as well, but that's one of the ways you can do it. And it looks like everybody's going to bed, so let's look at the work assignments here. And this is the basic way that you can control who does what. However, you can also click on manual priorities, and I typically will use this, although I think a lot of people just do it the sort of standard way, but manual priorities gets a little more detailed, as everybody's sleeping now. And you can basically, the game is going to read the assignments from left to right, and it's going to value by what's the lowest number. So if everything are 3s like this, then this person who is mech is going to do these assignments in order from left to right. Since he doesn't have anything under cooking, he's not going to ever try to cook. He's not able to do construction. Oh, actually he is. He just doesn't have skills for it. Why is it grayed out? Because he's actually a decent person with construction, but there is a reason why it's grayed out. I don't know what that is though. So anyway, if you wanted, so for example, Greg is our hunter, and so we might put this on 1. Anytime there's hunting to be done, he's going to prioritize that over anything else. Unless we make something to the left of this 1, then hunting will come first. And if there's something to cook, we want him to always cook it before anything else other than hunt, then we could make it a 2. So that's kind of how that works, if that makes sense. It's a pretty elegant system. I like the way they've done it, so that you can, as the needs of your colony change, the way that you assign different work priorities will change. And this is a good way for you to stay on top of it, so you kind of know what people are going to be up to. And if you go to, I was just noticing one other thing I could show you real quick. If you go to orders, we can mark this for mining. This is valuable. The jade is pretty valuable to have, so we can go ahead and mine that. And then also, once these guys are out of bed, I was going to show you kind of how hunting works. Alright, so everybody's up now. We did say that Greg was our hunter. So let's mark this. It's a doe. We're going to mark that for being hunted. Actually, let's cancel that, because before we do that, I want to show you, we're going to build, we've got room to, under production, we've got room to do a butcher's table, as well as a fueled stove. So we can just kind of show you how this process works. And so once this gets built, then we'll start hunting. So right now, the reason why they haven't started construction is because other things were being prioritized. For one, I think initially we didn't have the wood for it, but now we do, so the construction's getting done. And it's finished now. So one thing you can go is under the fueled stove, you add a bill, cook simple meal, and do it until you have, you can do lots of things. You can just say cook 5 meals, but I like doing until you have, because you're always going to need food, and we'll just say, starting off, we'll just say 10. And then on the butcher table, add a bill. And I think the best way to do this is just butcher creature and do it forever. Anytime there's a creature that needs to be butchering, you want it to get butchered. Alright, now let's find that doe and show you the hunting. Alright, so you mark it for hunt, and now Greg should start hunting pretty quickly as soon as he stops cloud watching. Alright, so now he's hunting. He hit the first shot. And this is, not only is it good because it's a way to get food, but it's also a way for whoever's going to be your sharpshooters to start practicing. So he killed it, now he's taking it to the butcher table. And let's go ahead and mark. Let's see, our stockpile area, will increase the size of it. And so once it gets butchered, he will take it up to the stockpile, and then he'll get what he needs to start cooking. So now you see he's cooking. Now, one thing about stockpiles, and this is kind of a really cool part of this, is if things are out in the sun like this meat right here, it's not refrigerated, so it's going to spoil in one day. So eventually what you're going to do is you're actually going to build, you want to have some sort of refrigeration, and one cool way to do that is to like actually build a room or build a part of a room, and then there's something called, I think it's under temperature, a cooler, and you can put the cooler in the wall so that it's actually cooling that space. And so once you get things that need to be stored in a cool area, they won't go bad, and if you keep it frozen, they won't ever go bad. So those kind of touches, the details that you get into the game, are just really, really cool. So you can see we've got 3 simple meals, and he's just going to keep cooking until we get the number of simple meals that we programmed, which in this case was 10, or until he runs out of food to make them with, or until he decides to cloud watch some more. Speaking of cloud watching, this kind of gets you into the restrict menu, where you set up their schedule for the day. And one thing that's nice, sometimes it's nice to give them a little bit of what's called joy time. That's kind of their own personal time, and you can build them things to do that they'll enjoy and enhance that time. And then you can have work after their joy time is over, and they'll actually work harder if they're in a better mood. So we'll get the work schedule set up, and then they kind of have some unrestricted, and they'll choose to work and they'll choose to do other things during those unrestricted hours. And if you see right here, there's still blood on the floor from where he did the butchering, and that's from, there's something in here that has to do with cleaning. Yes, clean. So because clean is so far down the list, if you don't put someone to prioritize cleaning, it may not ever get done, which increases the likelihood of infection and other things that you don't really want. I think this was actually the person who's non-violent, so we'll put them on clean duty. So they should get to that prioritized now. We'll see where they went. Hauling steel. Everybody's hauling steel. I guess everything hadn't gotten hauled yet. So anyway, this is Rimworld. And these are the kind of things that you're doing early in the game, the kind of decisions you're making. You're basically trying to figure out, according to what your surroundings are like and the type of world that you've loaded into, how are we going to survive? It's all about survival, right? And then you start to build up your base. If you've seen other videos or pictures of this game, you'll see really complex bases and big raids happening, and you can actually go and raid other places or set up caravans. So there's lots of things you can do in sort of middle to late game, but this is kind of what it's like in the beginning. These are the type of decisions you're making. When you just start off, you've just got the 3 colonists. You will potentially get more and all that, but this is kind of what it looks like in the beginning. So hopefully this has helped you get just an idea of what the early stages of Rimworld are like. If I'm answering the question whether or not someone should get this game, I think it's a definite yes. I've had so much fun with it. It's the kind of game you're thinking about when you're not playing it, making plans on how you want to do a colony better and all that. So I definitely recommend Rimworld. But as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate you viewing and hope you'll subscribe to the YouTube channel and come check us out on Twitch at MDogGaming. Thanks so much.